So we have another dump from the seemingly bottomless pit of the NSA WikiLeaks Vault 7. And this one generated another round of breathless press coverage last Friday on April 14th, mainly focusing on something called Eternal Blue. And an example of the press coverage was one site that said the shadow brokers, an entity previously confirmed to have leaked authentic malware used by the NSA to attack computers around the world, today released another cache of what appears to be extremely potent and previously unknown software capable of breaking into systems running Windows. The software could give, they write, nearly anyone with sufficient technical knowledge the ability to wreak havoc on millions of Microsoft users. And they continue, the leak includes a litany of typically codenamed software implants with names like Odd Job, Zippy Beer, and Esteem Audit, capable of breaking into and in some cases seizing control of computers running versions of the Windows operating system earlier than the most recent Windows 10. And then they conclude the vulnerable Windows versions ran more than 65% of desktop computers surfing the web last month, and I'll note, but not this month, according to estimates from the tracking firm Net Market Share. So the good news is, as is so often the case, I mean, what we've always seen, both in the original Snowden leaks of the CIA documents, and now here, many of these things are very old. And so many of them, because they're just sort of a repository trove, which could be useful if they're encountering somebody, if law enforcement or intelligence is encountering someone with an old, long, not updated Windows machine that hasn't been fixed, then some of these things could still apply. But Microsoft apparently had access to this before its release, before its disclosure on Friday. And so the March update, which remember that February got canceled. First it was postponed, then it was canceled. So that big March update, which is MS17-010, that fixed these things last month. So anybody who has been keeping their machines updated already has, and is using a Windows which is still receiving updates, already has these things fixed. So there was one called Eternal Blue, which was fixed last month, as was Eternal Romance and Eternal Synergy. And I sorted these in order of when they were fixed. There was one called Eskimo Roll, which got fixed in 2014. Emerald Thread got fixed in 2010, running backwards. Educated Scholar got fixed in 2009, and Eclipsed Wing in 2008. So Microsoft's on top of this. They did release a TechNet blog posting where they explained of what was released when these were fixed. And so even the worst were all fixed last month, and many fixed years ago. So this is sort of typical of what we see being disclosed. And while, yes, if this had been released in January and Microsoft hadn't released a fix, then this would have been a problem. But one way or another, Microsoft did fix these things, even the most recent of them in the March patch cycle. So as long as your machines are caught up to date or are up to date, you're probably not in a bad shape.